I'm sitting here today with Christopher J. Murphy from Fort Wayne Youtheatre, the Assistant Director and Director of Outreach. Thank you for having this conversation with me today.
Thank you for inviting me here to the lovely Arts United studios.
Of course, of course. So can you tell me a bit about your role at Youtheatre?
Sure. So, like you said, I'm the Assistant Director and the Director of Outreach. Youtheatre, we're a relatively small full-time staff, so everybody at Youtheatre kind of wears a lot of hats. My primary role as the Assistant Director is to direct half of our season. So I direct 2 out of our 4 main stage shows every year. Direct our touring shows that go out to libraries, senior centers, daycares, schools, anything that's going out into the community, serving places like Bright Points and underserved areas of the community like that. I also oversee our teachers and the academy portion of the Youtheatre, so I keep busy.
It sounds like it. Well, how cool that you kind of get that touch with the rest of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. There is never a boring day in my job, and that's what I love. I love that I get to come into work every day and do something completely different every day of the week, and it never gets boring. And I get to go places and meet people and influence and touch people in the community that I wouldn't get to meet if I were just sitting here in the theater 5 days a week.
So you obviously have a lot of touch points with different members of the community, especially young artists throughout the community. What kind of impact do you think it has on the young artists in engaging them in the arts?
Right. Well, so the great thing about exposing kids to theater is that you not only have the opportunity to make them better actors, directors, designers, whatever it is they might want to be if that's their thing, but more than that, I think hopefully you're just helping them be better people. You are helping create more well-rounded human beings to live in your community. Theater is well proven to increase test scores in reading and math and science and all of those things. It gives kids great experience in soft skills, teamwork, critical thinking, all of those sorts of things that are just going to make them better employees, better entrepreneurs, better bosses, better citizens, human beings, superheroes, whatever they want to go out and be in the world. And I personally take a lot of pride in that. Like, I love working in the theater, and I love acting, I love directing work that I do with adults, but none of that satisfies me in quite the same way that working with young people does, because you know that when you're working with an adult, you may be affecting what they do for the next 2 months of their life. When you work with a kid, you may, not to sound overly inflated, but you may literally be affecting who they turn out to be for the rest of their life. And that's a really cool thing.
That's a big impact.
Yeah, right. And we take it very seriously, but very fun.
Very cool. Well, if someone is interested in perhaps engaging with theater themselves.
And who wouldn't?
Exactly. What sort of offerings does Youtheatre have coming this summer?
Okay, so this summer, summer at Youtheatre is mostly about camp. In June, we are teaming up with our friends at Fort Wayne Dance Collective and bringing them a musical theater camp. So that runs for the middle 2 weeks of June. You can sign up for either 1 week or 2 weeks. That's open for our 3rd graders through 12th graders. In July, we've got an acting camp that's being held in the theater at First Presbyterian Theater, so they get to actually work in the actual theater space, which is cool. And that, again, it's a 2-week experience right in the middle of July. They can either take it for 1 week or they can take it for 2 weeks. And that'd be for kids who want to focus on acting, not so much the singing, the dancing, all the stuff that goes with the other camp. We are also collaborating with our friends over at First Pres on MAD Camp, which is music, art, drama, dance, for little kids, and that's the first week of June. July, we also collaborate with the Embassy Theater on a program for middle school kids that's called SCORE, and that's a devised musical theater camp. So they actually come in and create their own piece of musical theater. They write it, they direct it, they design it, they perform it, they do the whole thing, all in 2 very glorious but very intense weeks. So lots and lots of stuff going on for the Fort Wayne Youtheatre this summer.
Yeah, it sounds very busy.
I'm exhausted already.
But it sounds like a fun way to kind of see the different pieces that go into a theater production.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially something like Mad Camp or Score really gives you a full 360 view of the theater. And I think camp is a great way for kids who maybe have never been at youth theater before to come in a short period of time and experience it and get a feel for it and see if it's something that they want to come back and do on a longer term basis, like taking classes in the fall that last longer or being in a show. It's also a chance for a lot of kids who are maybe too busy during the school year to do stuff to come in and do stuff in a more concentrated period of time. And we try to give everybody a really great experience.
So there is a difference between the summer camps that you run and the fall semester classes or winter semester classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so our classes that take place in the fall and the spring are on Saturdays. They typically last 1 hour. And they're divided up into different age ranges, different specialties. So just depending on what you might want to take. Classes are very, very specialized. So you're going to have a musical theater class. You're going to have a playwriting class. You're going to have an acting class just for whatever your age range is, or a voice class, a dance class. They all tend to be very, very specialized, and then they're spread out over 10 weeks a semester. Whereas a camp sort of gives you a taste of everything in a much more concentrated amount of time.
So you also just recently announced the 2022-2023 upcoming season for Fort Wayne Youtheatre. Can you tell me a little bit about what that involves?
I can give you a sneak peek. Sure, we're very excited. Next year we are going to kick things off in end of September with Robin Hood. That's Robin with a Y, not an I. And it's going to be an original adaptation that is female-centric, based around the whole idea that during the Crusades, all the men were off fighting the Crusades, so who was left at home to take care of things if the bad guys came along was the women, right? So that's an original adaptation. We're really excited to have a sort of a girl boss adaptation of Robin Hood. Christmas, we're bringing back Frozen, back by popular demand, because we're trying to sort of build a rotation of 3-4 Christmas shows that we can bring back on a fairly regular basis, and it's time to bring that one back, so that should be a good time. We are collaborating with Audiences Unlimited on something called the Neurodiversity Project. That's going to take 10 neurotypical students and 10 neuroatypical students and have them work together on a production of Aesop's Fables. So we're really excited for that. That's something a little different for us. Our Young Heroes of Conscience play next year is a piece called Baghdad Zoo that's based on a true story about when the US invaded Iraq and all the zookeepers just abandoned all the animals in the Baghdad Zoo, and the neighborhood kids all tried for a period of time to feed them and take care of them and keep them alive. So it's a really inspirational, cool, true story. And then we close things out with Jeremy Thatcher Dragon Hatcher, based on a young adult novel. We're only going to be the second theater in the country to produce it. It was originally done up in Michigan. They commissioned it, and so they're licensing the script to us, and we're getting all of these giant dragon puppets. One of them is apparently so big that it takes 7 people to manipulate it. So we're really excited about that. I think it's a really cool season, a very diverse season, something for lots of different age ranges and demographics, and we're thrilled.
If someone was interested in registering for camp, upcoming classes, or even maybe auditioning for this upcoming season, how would they do that?
Best thing to do is just go to our website, which is fortwayneyoutheatre.org. All the information's right there. Everything about summer camps is up right now. Things about next season and enrolling for classes in the fall should be up starting July 1st. But everything sort of one-stop shopping right at fortwayneyoutheatre.org. You can find all the information, do all the enrollment right there.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me to have this chat about Fort Wayne Youtheatre.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.